Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Rotor Talk Live, Season 5, Episode 27, DJI Mini 3 Pro, all the latest. Hope everyone is doing well this evening. Got a number of people in the chat. We're going to greet everybody here, starting things out. Maddie's in the house. Akarasha's in the house. Flying Flynn Media, Arco Drone Solutions. Mark White is in the house. Wayne B. Let's see who else. Mr. Stephen Ewing is in the house. Drone Shots. Frank Walker, Jay Bird. Okay, all right. We got a Flying Flynn Media as well. Okay, and Drone Use Media. All right. How's everybody's 4th of July? Okay, if you didn't make a visit to the emergency room and you have all your digits, you probably did okay. So, just kidding. I gotta say this. I gotta share a story. One of the houses I lived in Ohio, there was apartment complex across the street, and I went out to our front porch. It was on the 4th of July, the evening of 4th of July, and I saw a young man bending over, face first, looking in a mortar. Okay, yeah, I called 911, and they said they've had so many calls, there was nothing they could do. And I'm like, I said I'm just trying to make sure that I take care of business here, because I think it needs. He said, we thank you for that, but we can't. I said, we're inundated right now. So anyway, all right. I digress from stuff. We got a lot to talk about tonight. Let's see here. First things first. All right. I'm going to share my screen here. I want to thank everybody, and I mean everybody, every subscriber, every follower, every viewer, everyone who has watched one of my videos, who has subscribed. We just hit the 12,000 mark on July 1st. A huge thank you, okay? This is for you. This is for you guys, okay? This isn't for me. It's for you guys. And I want to thank you guys so much for this. It really, it's very humbling, and I thank you for your support. Continued support and constant support for me through thick and thin, and I really appreciate it. And also, I'm going to speak for Valerie. She really appreciates it. This channel is here for you. This channel is dedicated to you guys, because I want to give you the latest in drone information. The best tips. Show some great videos and have a great live show. And I think we do that pretty well. And that's evidence here with 12,000 subscribers. So thank you very much. Onward and upward. 20K is the next kind of plat level. 15 for me, but 20. Onward and upward. We're going to keep growing. We don't have any plans to stop anytime soon. So just want to let everybody know that. And again, thank you all so much. I can't thank you enough. I really appreciate all the kind words, the comments, everything, the emails. It's always good, and I really want to thank everybody for that. So again, thank you from here. Really mean that from the bottom of my heart. Okay, all right, got a few things to talk about here. ZeroZero is having their Vcopter is going to be on a Prime Day sale, and let me get that information up here, which I found very interesting. As you know, Prime Day, you know where that's at. I don't have to tell you, that's on Amazon here. And, I do know several people that have the Vcopter. I think Johnny Drone Flyer is one of them. And, everybody has said it flies well. It doesn't have the best camera in the world, but it does fly well. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to go ahead and share the screen with you guys. Okay. Vcopter now $8.99 with an extra battery and gear for Prime Day. ZeroZero is offering a special deal ahead of Amazon's Prime Day event on its Vcopter dual rotor drone. Typically going for $11.99, you'll now find it at $8.99. It includes a few extra, on Amazon until July 19th. Below is what the bundle includes. Standard package with a drone controller, battery, charger. 1 extra battery. Gift package, memory card, t-shirt, canvas tote, hat, and more. This comes ahead of Amazon's Prime Day event. Stay tuned this week for more possible drone sales, as we're sure the Vcopter won't be the only thing on sale. Soon only saves $300 in a basic drone package, about $119 for the extra battery. The 2 batteries will give you up to 100 minutes of flight time thanks to the drone ditching 2 rotors like the conventional drones on the market. The Vcopter carries it with it a 1/2 sensor that records up to 4K video at 30 frames per second or 2.7K at 60. The 15-minute flight time, however, is what shines on this drone. And then there's a review on this. Again, as you know, always, all these articles are out on Build a Drone Reviewer Facebook group and Facebook page. So look at them at your leisure. Again, and stay tuned. Prime Day is coming up, and there's going to be some good deals out there. So make sure you guys are paying attention, and we'll get things published out there. Look on the community board. Also for information regarding the channel and also announcements, look on the community tab on YouTube, because I do post things out there. I was neglectful of that, and I realized that's a good form to pass along some quick notes and messages along with the Facebook group and page. So make sure you look out there as well. So, but again, this is just the start. I'm sure we're going to see more stuff coming out there besides just ZeroZero Robotics. So stay tuned for that. That's exciting. And, from what I've heard, and I think I heard a little bit from Johnny, and Johnny says he's really liked his, so that's something that I think we should kind of pay attention to. Ray Kelly's in the house. Welcome, Ray. And Johnny's here. Johnny's gotten 40 minutes on that. Okay. That's very good, Johnny. That's a very unique type of drone without a doubt. And, we all had our doubts about it, but it's come to fruition. So that's a good thing. Thanks for sharing that, Johnny. Appreciate that. Okay. You probably saw this in the show notes, DJI Phantom 2 and DJI Phantom 3 announcement. And this was from DJI directly. And I'm gonna bring this up here. And I think this is an important article because this is very telling of the direction that DJI is heading in. And I want to spend a few minutes on this here. Okay, DJI to stop support for some Phantom models. Is your drone affected? Okay. Here's some important news for longtime DJI Phantom users. The technology giant has announced the end of service timeline for select Phantom drone models and their accessories. Starting September 30th, 2022, DJI will no longer provide maintenance or technical support for the Phantom 2 2.4G and Phantom 3 4K drones and their accessories. The company explains in a statement. Subject to technological developments and changes in product usage requirements, each generation of electronic products has a fixed life cycle. To continuously provide you with premium products and service experiences, DJI regularly optimizes resource allocations to promote the development and application of new products and technologies. As of the date of service suspension, we will no longer provide you with the services for these products involving product inquiries, technical support, and product maintenance. We apologize for any inconvenience this may cause. It's worth noting DJI stopped manufacturing both these products in 2017. And for the past many years, the drone maker has been diligently providing support services for the aircraft, but now the company's recommendation operators of Phantom 2 and Phantom 3 4K drones is to upgrade their aircraft. DJI says if you're still using any of the above products, we sincerely recommend that you upgrade to an alternative product of a new model so you can enjoy more recent and improved technologies. We can then continue to provide you with efficient service. Now, Romeo Dersher said back in 2019, you probably remember that, with the exception of the Phantom 4 Pro RTK, the Phantom line has come to an end. DJI stock of Phantom 4 RTKs is also starting to dwindle. The product is listed as temporarily out of stock on most retail websites. We did find it available for sale on Drone Nerds. Also, that's the Phantom 4 Pro V2.0. That's exactly the same thing. Meanwhile, the reason why drone manufacturers are urging users to switch to an older product is it considers the Matrice series as the future of enterprise aircraft, while enthusiasts and commercial users have a plethora of Mavic drones to choose from. DJI's latest addition to its enterprise line is the M30. The M30 comes in 2 versions, the M30 and the M30T. The T has the difference on that is the radiometric thermal camera. Okay, a lot said here, and a lot to. Thank you for saying that. Behind story is the support also can downsize staff. That's a very good point. That's a very good point, Lauren. And it's you look at a cost benefit. I majored in business in college. You look at a thing called a cost benefit ratio and analysis, and you crunch a lot of numbers together, and there's just not a lot of benefit because there's no, obviously new products aren't being sold from these lines anymore. Refurbished ones, I believe, were on sale. I think last year sometime. I think I saw Phantom 3 refurbished units being on sale, but you have to go to some brick and mortar drone stores to probably buy the refurbished units. I don't even know if they're available anymore. But at this point, the newer technologies are going to provide you with much better capabilities than the Phantom 2 and Phantom 3. Some people are nostalgic, like to have them, and that's fine. You also run into issues with batteries with these drones. And finding batteries that still work, because batteries have a limited life cycle, and they're going to run out, and you won't be able to recharge them anymore. So getting new batteries is also very problematic for this as well. But DJI wants to spend its money and its resources wisely, and I think it's a very prudent move by them. I think it's very foretelling. And again, I can't answer as to whether the Phantom line is dead or not, because I've heard rumors of. I keep hearing rumors of Phantom 5 stuff going on. We'll kind of see on that. I'm not gonna touch that with a 10-foot pole unless there's some concrete evidence of one. But you never say never as far as that's concerned. But the Phantom 4 line, they didn't say anything about that, so they're still supporting that. You still have to use the DJI Go 4 app for that as well. So that's where we're at on that. Well, Lauren's right. Yeah, batteries are available on Amazon. So that's a good point. Thank you, Lauren, for bringing that up. You can still find them. Most of them are aftermarket, which, there's a point in time when, you can say that's okay, as long as I can find a battery that's going to work with that. And, and remember, people, if you're looking to get nostalgic and you want to get one of these, there's a lot of features that are on our present drones are not on these drones. A lot of the capabilities that are on our newer drones are not on these drones as well. No such things as obstacle avoidance, and the sensors were very rudimentary back then as well too. Just a lot of things. So be careful if you're going out there to look for that kind of stuff. Apple does the same thing when they declare a line as vintage and also stop support 107 drones. You're right. Yeah, Apple does the same thing with that too. And you have to. There's a certain point you do that. Now I know, and I'm going to bring up another example, and we're going to move on here in a second. But I wanted to bring up the example. My wife has a 2009 Saturn Vue, and we're going to be trading it in, and she's getting a new Toyota when it comes in, okay, which is probably end of the month, beginning of next month, and she can hardly wait. Trust me. And I know when Saturn closed up shop, it was mandated that they have parts availability for X number of years for all the Saturns through GM dealerships, okay? And I think that was I think Saturn declared, I don't know if they declared bankruptcy or what, but they made those parts available for, I think, a time frame, 10, 15 years. New Saturn parts you can still find them through mostly any General Motors dealership. So, that's the same kind of thing there. And you have to look at a cost benefit analysis, but evidently that was part of an agreement or something that Saturn did. But no, this is part, and this is to be expected. Same thing's going to happen, when end of line for Phantom 4. That's going to happen. So, that's going to be, and look at this, okay? And what I'm going to say is, the Phantom 4 Pro V2.0 at one time was the only consumer drone that shot 4K 60 frames per second. Well, now you can shoot 4K 60 frames per second in a DJI Mini 3 Pro. Okay, I mean, that says a lot right then and there, right in and of itself. There's a lot to digest there with that. So, but I wanted to spend a few minutes on that because I thought it's important, and just in the great scheme of things, DJI is trying to move forward, and that's understandable. And that's some things that people need to know. I know there's going to be some people, some of the diehards are going to complain vehemently about it. But look, when's the last time they've done any firmware updates or anything? When's the last time the Go 4 app has had any kind of firmware updates for like the Phantom 4 line? I don't know. I don't think, they're coming out with a lot of them. DJI, I watched DJI's Twitter account on support when they do, put out the firmware updates, and I haven't seen any for those as of recent. So just to kind of get you guys a nice big background on this, And I think it's important because it's going to happen. It'll eventually happen to every line too. It's going to happen to the Phantom 4 line. Eventually, it'll happen to the original Mavic Pro. That's probably coming up. What the original Mavic Pro has been out 2016. It's 5 years. So it's probably going to take. The last time that they've been produced, I don't know, maybe 2017. So maybe in the next couple of years, that may be reaching end of life as well too. So. Yeah, Art. I agree. Yeah, Oldsmobile and Pontiac, exactly. That was part of that restructuring with General Motors, and I think the government ran them for a while, if I'm not mistaken. Art, I'm not 100% sure. Yeah, maybe E-Drone will make a black Phantom. Kim, I love that. That's a good one. That is a real good one, G-Man. I love that. Okay. All right. Got a lot to talk about, and I know Ron and Marcus are going to join me here in a little bit. Wow, there's just so much here, and so much to talk about with the Mini 3 Pro. There's a lot of things going on. I think the first thing that I want to talk about is the map issue that was found with DJI RC. Now, our good friend Ron Brown put out a video, and let's see. I think I might have that up. Do I have that up? No, I don't. Ron put out a video about that, and our friend Henrik from Tech Drone Media, I think that's Henrik's channel's name, forget, he put out a video as well saying, it was a problem. And then sure enough, DJI support in the midst of the comments section, Henrik answered him back and said the issue's been fixed. And Henrik put out a 7-second video showing it was fixed. Now, from my understanding, from what I heard, and anyone in the chat, correct me if I'm wrong, and Lauren, correct me if I'm wrong, but they said that DJI servers were tied up and that this was causing an issue with the map updating on the DJI RC. That's what I heard. This is what it said. This is what I'm hearing from DJI on that. So yeah. So that's that's what we have. That's what we have there, as far as that's concerned. And and I've gotten a lot of emails and comments on my Mini 3 Pro videos about this issue. And our good friend Sean from formerly from Drone Seekers, Sean Matthews, subscribe to his channel. He does put out some good videos. He's putting out some good content on the Mini 3 Pro, and one of them was he showed an alternate way to download the maps and have them in there. So I do recommend you guys checking that out. Lauren, I don't disagree with you at all. Not at all. As they say, good people are hard to find. And there's a shortage of labor everywhere, and China's probably no stranger to that. And you need to have people in to know what they're doing with coding. And when you rush things and put things into development and have to get it into production without doing a lot of quality assurance checks, that's when you have errors, and that kind of thing will happen as well. So that's one of the things, and it's symptomatic of a broader problem in general. And I'm gonna digress quickly here for a second, but customer service in general has really fallen by the wayside. There's the two Wendy's that are closest to us, and I told Valerie, I said, Wendy's is not a 4-letter word, but it is to me. The customer service we've gotten at those two Wendy's has been atrocious, okay, to say the least. Everybody that's there could care less. You could hear it in their voices. You can see it in their body language. They just, they could care less about their jobs. Wait times are long. Food comes out cold. You get wrong orders constantly, and this has happened at other places as well too, but I'm just naming specifically Wendy's because that happened as well. And then one of our Chinese restaurants that we like to patronize, the same kind of thing is happening. Used to be consistently good food there, And it's like hit or miss now. One time your food will be good, another time it won't be as good, or it will be cold, or they don't even add like basic spices like salt and pepper sometimes, and just tastes bland. There's no taste to some of these things. So yeah, it's a problem of the broader problem is the baby boom is retiring, and population behind it is large enough to fill all job vacancies. That's a good point, 107 Drones. That really is. And yeah, Joe and Felder, yeah, you're right. You know, the next generation like mine is just Maddie. Yeah, that's very, very, very interesting. Very interesting. And it is, and it's symptomatic of a broader problem. And you guys have hit the nail on the head. I think the workforce is not as robust as we would like it to be. And COVID, using COVID as a reasoning, it's stuck for a while, but we're beyond that right now. And it's part of a part of a problem, part of a broader problem as well. But again, the problem with this, that we have here with this is, we're looking at, this is hitting all of us, and apparently this issue is fixed. I haven't gone on. I have not tested this, okay, because I didn't have I had to work today. I didn't have a chance to fly. I flew yesterday, but I didn't have a chance to test the firmware update after the firmware update and see if the maps were any issue. I've never had any issues with the maps. And I've flown the Mini 3 Pro about 5-6 times since I've had it, and I've never really had any map issues. That's not been a problem. And I've checked it in the house where I have Wi-Fi, and I've checked it out in the field where I don't, and the maps are there, and I'm not having any issues. So but I haven't tested it since the firmware update. So I'm gonna take a look. I'm gonna take a look and see. Probably in the next couple of days. Although, we have a very special trip coming up this weekend. My granddaughter turns 3 this weekend, so we're going to celebrate her birthday in Ohio on Saturday. And Friday, we're taking out my beautiful wife. And you guys, do me a favor in the chat, wish Valerie a happy birthday, okay? Her birthday's on Friday, okay? She's 29 again. So wish her a very happy birthday. It's coming up on Friday, and we're going to take her out. And I talked to my son-in-law tonight, and he told me 4 more sleeps till grandma and grandpa come. So they're getting our 3-year-old pumped up and excited, and it'll be nice. I'll be able to see, my younger son's available, so we're going to get a chance to spend some time with him as well, which is good. My older son isn't, but it'll be nice to see and spend some time with all of them. So we're looking forward to that. So, okay. All right. Lauren, that's a good point. That's a good point. And I'll kind of slow down the purchasing, and that kind of gets them to notice. And I said this, for example, I'll do a sports analogy here. Okay, you guys know I'm from Pittsburgh, all right? They probably have one of the worst, if not the worst, Major League Baseball teams, all right? And it's all due to an owner who does not want to spend money, okay? He does not want to field a winning team. All he cares about is the bottom line. He's still making money. As bad as they are, he's still making money. And, they're trying to get a petition together to force the commissioner of baseball to get him to sell the team to somebody who is committed to the city, to the team, and wanting to put a winning product on the field. But be that as it may, there's been several efforts at trying to get to boycott the games. But there's a lot of diehard fans that still go to the games. So, it's a very great thing to try to do, but it's really difficult in theory to get it to go. So, all right, we're going to move on here, but we're still talking about the Mini 3 Pro. Let me go ahead and get up. Now, there was a DJI Fly update for the Mini 3 Pro. Now, we're going to take a look at this here, and I'm going to go ahead and pull it up. I think this was important. Now, this happened on June the 30th. So, it's go ahead and get this up on the screen for you guys. DJI Fly App update brings new features for Mini 3 Pro users, okay? DJI Fly App has received a fresh update, version 1.6.8 today. If you're a fan of the portrait mode on Mini 3 Pro, the latest update of the Fly App will make you very happy. The update adds support for using focus track, quick shots, including droning, rocket, circle, helix, and boomerang, and hyperlapse functions in portrait mode for DJI Mini 3 Pro. Moreover, based on user feedback, DJI has added a 2-second option to the shutter interval and hyperlapse for the drone. You'll also find a new USB mode to export files after this update. It's been added to improve the battery life of the drone. Go to Camera View Settings, Camera to enable this mode. And make sure to update the aircraft and remote controller firmware to the latest version to use these new functions, okay? Now, they also recently announced, DJI, that you'll be able to get them at brick and mortar stores as well, too. Now, this is a significant update here, okay? That's one of the things, I want to make certain that everybody knows. This is a significant update. It's important. People really like that vertical mode, and it lends itself to TikTok, and we won't get into TikTok because that's a hornet's nest right now, and the FCC is trying to get it banned from the United States because they're saying the People's Republic of China is, they're looking at people's information and getting things off of TikTok, which I haven't joined TikTok. I haven't even downloaded the app, and and Valerie hasn't either. So we're probably not going to go there. But the other platform that this is good at, well, two, YouTube Shorts, which, by the way, I don't know if you know this or not, it doesn't count for your watch time, and your total watch time. If you get a lot of views on it, it doesn't count towards it. So just kind of like, bear that in mind. Keep that in mind there. There's Mr. Brown. How are you, sir?
Hello, Bill. How are you? How was your 4th of July?
It was quiet, and when that's a good one. Okay,
good.
That was very good. We were just talking about the DJI Fly update that added a bunch of features to the vertical mode.
Yes.
And one of the things that I was just saying, obviously, I don't know, you've probably seen there's a lot going on with TikTok and the FCC, and they're trying to get that thing shut down in the United States.
The same guy that's that's on the FCC that's going after DJI. I forget the gentleman's name. He's the same one heading up this TikTok thing, but he's the only one who put his name on the document.
Brendan Carr is his name.
Brendan Carr, yep.
Yeah. And I was just saying, for the vertical shooting mode, there's two other avenues that I think are good, are the YouTube Shorts. Mm-hmm. and also Instagram. Okay.
And Facebook has their Facebook Stories, which are in
Facebook Stories also does the vertical shooting mode as well too. So there's plenty of opportunities to use this, and adding on all these features, this is just a huge bonus. And my last video on the Mini 3 was on vertical shooting, and I liked it, Ron. I thought it was great because you're seeing things from a different type of perspective, and I like that.
Yeah, well, for years as an amateur photographer, many times you turn the camera, up this way and take the photo to get a vertical, like a lot, especially for a lot of portrait shots. You didn't want the surroundings in; you just wanted the person in.
Yeah,
and for things like if you're standing at the Eiffel Tower or whatever, you go vertical because you don't care what's the right and left of the Eiffel Tower. You only want to catch it all the way up and down.
Exactly. And that's why I really like that they added all of those features onto it as well too. And I think people will get a lot of use out of it. And I'm really enjoying it. I think it's great.
Bill, it was quite a substantial update, really. I mean, maybe the most substantial update we've seen from the drone yet.
Yeah. There was. And I'm really happy that DJI has gone out there. Now, I wanted to kind of digress for a second. We had already talked about this a little bit. And I know I saw Henrik put out from Tech Drone Media, and you put out a video regarding the maps issue, okay? And that Henrik said he put out a 7-second video today that it was corrected. And somebody had commented, evidently there was some type of server error with DJI, and that's why the maps weren't getting updated.
I did hear that. I know that I first saw Sean the drone posted, I guess, on Sunday about the maps he missed. He even pinged me personally, Bill, and asked me about the maps. So I tested and got back to him. I said that, my maps were good, but I did it after I saw DJI respond to Sean's video personally. DJI support said the maps are now working. So I did not test until after DJI put that on Sean's video. So here's my question, Bill, is you said the servers, that makes sense, because I was thinking, well, how did they fix the maps without issuing a third firmware update? But that server that you just mentioned could make some sense then.
Yeah, because if they didn't issue a firmware update and it's fixed, it had to have been something completely on DJI's end. And I know for me, I've never experienced one issue with it. I mean, since I've flown the Mini 3 Pro, and I've had it out like 6-7 times flying it, and I have not seen or had any problems with the maps whatsoever.
Yeah, well, I was fine at first, and then they issued the firmware update, the one from about a week ago. I forget what that one fixed, but that the one that turned your Bluetooth and Wi-Fi off after you took off. Well,
right.
That didn't give the short time it was on Wi-Fi did not give me enough time to cache maps if I was in a new area. So I did not have maps without stopping what I was doing, going back and turning Wi-Fi on again, which was not a pleasant thing to do. Just held your flight up or whatever.
Right.
But now with the last firmware update, the one with the one on the end, now it seems to be not turning Wi-Fi off as much. Maybe that's just me. The crazy thing about this, Bill, you just mentioned, I haven't had many issues either, but I've never seen a drone, well, from DJI, where so many people are having issues and so many people are not having issues or whatever.
Yeah.
Like say with the Mavic 3, like everybody had the GPS issue to some degree. Some people had more, some less, but nobody was getting it in like 30 seconds when it first came out. But this drone, it seems like, again, some people have signal range issues. Some people, like Philly Mike, he's flying to the moon without any issues. What do you think is going on with that, Bill?
That's really, it doesn't make any sense because, when, for what I do, quality assurance testing, there's usually some logic. There's something, something you can kind of center this in on to say, this is the root cause of this. And you go there and you try to do, and the other thing that you try to do in my field is you try to duplicate these errors. You set up the parameters to try to duplicate it. And this isn't something that you can do that with, and it doesn't make any sense. There's no rhyme, there's no reason. I mean,
and the heating issues is big. I can't tell you how many people pay me about the overheating issues. They're so worried about the overheating issues. Bill, I like you said, I've flown that thing, I don't know, 10 times or whatever, in all the various firmwares. I've never seen the drone one time report an overheating issue or whatever.
Well, yeah, mine didn't. See, I had mine on the pad between takes, my first 2 flights, and it was a little longer than 5 minutes. Now I was sitting out in the sun, so it says it's shutting down because it's too hot. And I'm like, okay, and that's fine. I had no problem with that. Now, the other times I'm flying and, there's air moving through there and I'm not really having an issue with it. So,
yeah, I've never seen it tell me it was overheating. And I got that overload warning twice, but that has more to do with flying in sport mode, I think, into the wind. But again, I haven't got one overheating warning, but other people, again, constantly ping me about the overheating issue, and I can't help them because I haven't seen it.
I haven't really seen it as well. Now, one thing that's really interesting for me, and in my workflow, I like to use, and I know Marcus uses too in his, and you do too, the screen recording. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Well, it's in 720p and it's like, but I don't know if DaVinci Resolve does something to it, because I'll tell you what, my final product, it almost looks like 1080p, Ron. It comes out, it's pretty clear, because, 720p, it's a little, you can see a little bit of fuzziness with it. It's not as sharp. It's not as detailed, but it almost looks like it transfers it to 1080p because it looks completely different than like when I play it natively on my computer, just, after I download it off the SD card.
Yeah.
And I don't know what that is. I really don't know what that, I'm pleased.
Same thing with me. I don't know there's a whole lot of difference between the 720p screen recordings in this drone and the 1080p from the RC Pro or whatever.
Yeah. So, for me, it's kind of negligible because I look at the final product after I run through, DaVinci Resolve, my editor, and I'm pleased with it. It looks fine. I'm not
Yeah.
having an issue with it.
And still, I mean, anybody watching a mobile device isn't going to see the difference. And even if somebody's watching it on their, I don't know, their 75-inch 4K HDR TV or whatever, but still, even at that point, don't you have some expectations? I'm watching a screen recording, like you wouldn't expect the screen recording to be a good final product or whatever. And most times, a lot of people put the memory card video in a box. I usually tend to stick my memory card video at the end because if somebody really wants to see how good the video looks, they don't want to see that little box. So I usually stick at the end of the video, like so they can see what it looks like in full picture. But I'm saying when you're watching screen, if you're trying to judge a drone's video quality by watching the screen recording, well, that's not a good idea to begin with or whatever. Just accept, hey, I watch the screen recording. All the screen recording is to show, what's happening, in the app or whatever. It's not meant to be I don't know, a high resolution representation of the drone's camera. Am I off on that, Bill?
No, not at all, Ron. I agree with you 100%. Its purpose is exactly as you stated it. And, and I always do it for kind of like for my own peace of mind, because if something were to happen to that drone, I have that physical recording for that in case, say, DJI would ask for it or my insurance company, I would have that physical evidence to show them, say, look, this is what happened during the flight. So, at least I have that. And I like it in the workflow because, for you and I and Marcus and others who have YouTube channels, it helps us explain things and we can show people things, this is where this setting is, this is where that setting is, this is how you do this, on the app. And I think that's important to be able to do.
It really helps people that aren't as real familiar with the app.
Exactly. I mean, that really kind of hones in on things with this.
Yeah. I mean, the only downside of it is we see issues as far as like lag and stuff like that, because we're overtaxing these smart controllers by doing the screen recording. That was the fatal flaw of the original smart controller from DJI. If you did a screen recording on it, it really taxed the processor to great lengths.
Yeah, it does. And, and that's that's one thing a lot of people don't realize too. For example, these people that are having these overheating issues, they might be running it at 4K 60 frames per second. Okay. That's really going to crank that processor to the max, Ron. And especially, and I can tell you this, okay, like 4th of July yesterday at noon, you did not want to go outside. Okay. It was really, it was hot. The sun, the UV rays are extremely high, and they don't even suggest going outside. I mean, it's so bad, and it really is. They had a thing up at the community pool yesterday. Valerie and I didn't go. Part of the reason was because it was so stinking hot yesterday. It was just you didn't want to be outside, and part of that is when you're flying these drones in these different environments, you have to realize something too. It's like 98, 99, 100 degrees. And then, you add the heat index onto that, and it's warmer in other parts of the country. So, a large part of this problem has to do, with the time of year that we're flying. Okay. Really, because you fly this in the wintertime, you're not going to have these problems.
Yeah. Yeah.
At all.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, I mean, I can't speak. I mean, I'm sure people have legitimate overheating issues. I just haven't seen them.
Yeah, I haven't either. Well, the other thing that I still get people are pinging me about is availability.
Yeah.
I've heard from some of our friends over in Europe and in other areas in Australia as well. At first there was plenty of availability in the brick and mortar stores, but now there's a wait for them. So this is kind of like, this isn't just hitting us right now. It's everywhere. And I think
I do have a report for you, Richard M. He, I don't see him in here tonight, but I forget what his screen name is, but he held off. He didn't order. He just ordered the Mini 3 Pro with the DJI RC remote just the other day from directly from DJI, and it shipped that day. They had
Wow.
same day shipping from, and I told Marcus this, and Marcus said, "Wait a minute," and he went and checked, and it could ship. I think this was maybe yesterday or Sunday. It was shipping that day if you ordered it. So
Wow. I did not
DJI's
know that.
website has caught up anyways.
Wow. That, well,
But as far as third-party vendors, do you know of anybody that received their Mini 3 Pro from a third-party seller in the U.S.?
no, I don't.
Yeah, I don't know either. Yeah, I haven't
I
heard
don't.
one person, and I know most of Best Buy pretty much. A lot of people have just moved on from Best Buy. It doesn't seem like Best Buy has any idea.
Yeah, they're really kind of like in the dark on this. And I kind of have a working theory here with Best Buy because, I approached one of the managers, and I think it was when the first Mini came out, maybe the Mini 2, and I was in the store on Sunday. I said, "Is there any way, because it was going to be released on a Monday, is there any chance I can pick that up now?" I said, "No." He says, "There's no way I can ring you up even if I wanted to." And he said, "Besides that, we have an agreement with the manufacturer, and if we break that agreement, they're gonna not let us sell product like this again." So I'm thinking, DJI probably has a strained relationship with Best Buy, and that's probably what caused this to happen.
Possibly.
That's exactly what I'm thinking. Billy Kyle put out a great tweet today. He said, for the price for the DJI RC, says it's a steal, and he's right. $309 for that, Ron, by itself. That is an absolute steal. Plus, now it works with the Mavic 3, which is incredible.
Of course, there's been several test flights out there saying it doesn't work well with the Mavic 3. There's
I've seen
screen freezing and just whole glitches in the feed for the FPV, and somebody's even theorizing some kind of like a bit rate issue or whatever. But
it could be.
Anyhow, said I haven't had the opportunity to fly the Mavic 3 with the DJI RC yet, but I hope to maybe do it tomorrow. But early reports is it hasn't been a pleasant experience for many people.
Yeah, and I'm kind of seeing the same thing as well too, and I'm really curious, and I was really curious about that because, when I had the Mini 3 Pro out the other day, I didn't fly in the direction where I was having that signal problem and signal interference. I kind of kept it away from there. But it was real interesting, to note. And I was thinking, how's the Mavic 3 going to behave with this? Because I know with the DJI RC Pro, there's no question. I have no problem with that.
Oh yeah,
the Mavic 3. Okay.
Yeah. Basically, that controller is made for the Mavic 3.
Yeah, it was custom, pretty much custom designed for the Mavic 3, and I've had no issues with that. But the RC Pro, I did do this again. I had my back facing the other way, and I realized that right away because of the camera, and I flipped around, and and I didn't have any signal problem, but it was like getting to where I know, like at 2,000, 2,500 feet away, that it could have that problem. So I turned myself around, and then I didn't after that. I made sure that I didn't. But you kind of have to remember to do that with this drone, especially because the way, because there's no real physical antennas. The antennas are at a certain point on the controller, and you got to be pointed in that direction. I mean,
supposedly the drone has 4 antennas in it, right? Where the Mini 2 only had 2.
Yeah,
but the controller is a difference because with the Mini 2 you had the RC1, which the antennas were in the phone mount.
Yes.
So you pulled that up, you had some extended antennae on that or whatever, and of course the RC Pro has really good external antennas.
Now there was a whole people put out a series of videos when the original smart controller came out about how you put the antennas up, because a lot of people were doing it wrong.
Yeah,
and you had to do that right, and once you did that and got that down pat, then you didn't have any issues with that.
Right. And just as we talked about the RC Pro and the Mavic 3, basically the original smart controller is basically made for the Mavic 2 and always worked best with the Mavic 2 of all the drones that
Right.
capable of working
Right.
with. Yeah.
Right. And it worked pretty well with the Phantom 4 Pro V2.0. I had
Okay.
no
Yeah.
issues with that whatsoever. It was
I mean, I know, worked good with the Air 2S and the Mini 2 eventually, but never quite as good as the Mavic 2.
right. I agree. I agree 100% with that. And I also, one of the other things that I found real interesting here is we kind of talked about this a little bit earlier before you joined us, was, Prime Day sales coming up. And, the first thing that we saw was ZeroZero Robotics is taking off, I think, $200 on the Vcopter, which is
$899, and
yeah,
with that you get a free extra battery, Bill.
free extra battery and some other goodies, a bag and some other things. So, and a t-shirt. I mean, it kind of adds up, but it's a forerunner of other sales that are coming up, and I'm sure there's going to be some other ones.
Yeah, as far as DJI, I mean, I don't think you'll see the Mavic 3 or the Mini 3 on a sale, but maybe possibly the Air 2S or the Mini 2.
The Mini 2, yeah. That's
maybe
exactly
some of
what I
their
was
other
thinking.
equipment, like either the Action 2 camera or maybe the Pocket 2, or maybe some of the gimbals. Some of that stuff may be
Yeah.
included in sale.
Yeah, and that's coming. And that Prime Day is when is Prime Day?
It's like next week.
Well, there he is.
Speaking of prime time.
Yeah, my internet's down, guys. So I'm just using
we see you on your phone, Marcus.
Yeah, some vertical video.
Oh, are you? Yeah. See, Marcus is going all TikTok on us.
Yeah.
I dropped my phone then.
Well, that's what happens when you're a big TikTok star and you're dancing around.
So I turned it sideways. Is that better?
Yeah,
you're still good looking, Marcus.
Was good. Okay? I mean, Bill's trying to get his numbers up here. A little vertical video may have helped.
Whether you're vertical or horizontal, you're still a good looking.
Now the Instagram crowd can watch this stream.
So get this. My internet has been going in and out, and for the last, I don't know, over the whole holiday weekend. And I called them today, and they said, "Yeah, we can be out there between 8 a.m. and 7 p.m. and just stand by. We'll show up."
Who is your provider out there, Marcus? Your internet provider?
Sparklight.
Sparklight?
Yeah.
That sounds impressive.
It sounds awful impressive. Yeah, they used to be Cable One, and now they call them Sparklight. So
I like that.
Yeah.
We have Spectrum.
We have Comcast.
It's just so frustrating. It's just one of the most frustrating things.
Nobody likes their cable company, guys. Nobody likes their internet company.
Well, if the thing is, if you could get reasonable service, if they could say, "Hey, listen, okay, we'll have somebody out there, but they'll be there between 8 and 10 or even half a day," but no, 8 a.m. and 7 p.m. So, it's one thing, I'm retired, but just think if it was a couple and you're both working, you just would be out of luck, right?
Or what if you were a young person, had a bunch of kids, and you had to run a bunch of errands? They had to go to the ball games, you had to go to the grocery store, all that stuff.
Yeah, I totally agree. It just doesn't work, but they don't care.
Yeah, they don't care. You're probably they're the only game in town. You either get internet from them or you don't.
You can get So we're getting a new company is coming in called TDS Fiber, and they're putting in a bunch of fiber optic lines, and they're doing it like a neighborhood at a time. And I pre-registered with them just because you want to give competition, right? Yeah. So we'll see what that comes down to. The other thing you can do is CenturyLink, which is the phone company. However, we all know that through that little phone line, you're limited on the bandwidth. So
I mean, it would take you days to upload one of your long videos, huh?
Yeah. I've got one coming out that's over an hour long. So
I do got a question for you, Marcus. Have you flown the Mavic 3 with the RC Pro yet?
I have not, Bill. I ordered well, you mean with the DJI RC?
Or the RC, I'm sorry. Yeah.
With the controller, it comes with the Mini 3.
It's so confusing, all this nomenclature.
Oh, I know.
However, the short answer is I have not. But what I did do, Bill, is I ordered one because I figure it's going to be worth it for $309. So I went ahead and ordered one so that I can have one dedicated to the Mavic 3 and then have one dedicated to the Mini 3.
Okay.
We just had a little discussion. I've heard a few people report that they didn't have a pleasant experience flying the Mavic 3 with the DJI RC. That they had, say the same thing. There was a freezing, the screen, things not moving right on the screen, shuttering, freezing, all the words you could say, bad screen transmission. And I've heard that more than once out there.
Ron, I've been thinking about the issues that I had with the Mini 3, even after that last update, screen freezing, etc. One of the things that our friend Lauren Donauer always tells us to do, and I often forget to do it, anytime you do a firmware update, format the SD card in the drone, and I would assume that this would apply to that controller as well. Format it within the controller, because he said those updates can leave orphan files on that SD card that can cause issues. And I think that's probably pretty sound advice.
It can't hurt.
Right.
Yeah, I mentioned that in my latest video too about the maps disappearing. That Lauren said to format the car. I mean, a lot of pros, not even just pros, just advanced amateurs, they reformat their car before every flight. They download all their data, pictures and videos all off the card to a computer or tablet or whatever they download to, and then they reformat before every flight. And a professional wedding photographer or something would do that too. They would format all their cards and their cameras before every shoot, so there's less chance of a corruption.
Yeah. So, Ron, I do the same thing, but here is the rub that often I will format it on my computer. And I think what you really should do is format it within whatever your device is, whether it's drone.
That goes back to regular photography too with cameras. You always want to format in camera.
Right. Yeah, and I don't always.
I mean, that doesn't mean you can't do it in a computer. You can format on the computer, but when you put it in the camera, or in this case, a drone, format it again.
I totally agree with you. That should be, and Ron and I had a discussion about this yesterday. I thought that might be part of my GoPro issues, the problems I'm having with my Hero 10. So I went ahead and formatted it within the camera. Didn't solve a damn thing. I felt better. So
yeah, that's good. So anyhow, Marcus, I'm gonna try to get out tomorrow. At weather being good, and do my first. I mean, I've connected the Mavic 3 and the DJI RC, but I haven't actually, I connected them. All the functions work, gimbal, everything works, but I haven't got it in the field and fly. So I want to fly tomorrow and fly far enough away to make sure that the transmission from the drone to the screen is solid the whole way.
Yeah, I think that's a smart move, Ron. And you got me thinking about it. Maybe I might do the same thing just to make myself feel better. But that $309, to me, it's so worth it to have one dedicated to the drone, and that way I'm not switching back and forth. And here's the other thing that I was concerned about there, guys, and you tell me if I'm just being a little I don't know, thinking about it too hard. What I don't want to do is I don't want to go out in the field and not have the controller with me. In other words, you think it's in the kit, but it's actually in the kit with the other drone. And so that's kind of why I did that, is that way it's dedicated to that drone. It's always in that kit. I'm never going to forget it.
That's smart. That is smart.
And still to this day, I mean, people say different, but my experience is every time I open the drone up and we'll stick it just with the DJI RC here, but it could be with any smart controller. When you go to another drone, pick it in that drone selection window, you still have to like approve it, and it says that message guy do a firmware update, and then even get this thing now where it says you can fly 5 times with this drone before you have to bind it. It's still not a one step no fuss solution. It's still a little
multi-steps
to keep shifting back and forth between zones.
Yeah, and you know, it's one thing to have the RC Pro that you spent, you know, $1,200 on. It's probably worth switching it back and forth. But if you can buy this RC for $300, you know, it just changes the equation.
Yeah,
it does. And when I started off this conversation, Marcus, I was telling Ron, Billy put out a tweet, and he said it is a steal for $309, and he's right.
Right.
You know, for what you're getting for that, I mean, there's a lot of technology there for only $309.
You remember? Has Billy test flown the DJI RC with the Mavic 3 yet?
I haven't seen that from him.
If he has.
I know Rick Smith did. Rick put out a video about it, and I didn't have a chance to watch it yet.
Yeah, Rick put the video out about it, and he brought some good points of the video, but he didn't show you flight footage. So I think he may have made that video without flying too. Now Rick brought up the point is, you know, he had the Air 2S sitting between the Mavic 3 and the Mini 3 Pro, whatever, sitting right in the middle. And he said, why did they skip? The logical thing would be to have that DJI RC work with the Mini 3 Pro and the Air 2S first. Why did they skip the Air 2S and go right to the Mavic 3? Was it because the Air 2S is incapable of being bound with that controller, or is there another reason?
I have a theory, and I don't know if it's true, but it's just a theory. I bet because there's so many more Air 2S drones out there, I'm willing to bet they were afraid that they couldn't keep up with demand if they did that.
Oh, as far as sales, yeah,
right.
Yeah.
And that's just absolute guess.
Can you imagine that's a good guess. Can you imagine being a company? You know, you could print money, but you can't do it because you can't keep up with the orders. I mean, to me, if I was the CEO of a company and my people below me came to me and told me that reason, well, we can't make it compatible with our most popular drone because we can't make enough units, I would look at them and say, you better get this fixed or you won't be working here next week.
Well, talk to Ford Motor Company or General Motors or any of the auto builders, and that's their frustration right now. They could have sold many more cars, Ron, but they can't get parts. And it's not just the chips are what gets the headlines, but it's you know, it's all kinds of parts, tires, all kinds of things that they just can't get enough of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's still part of everything that's going on. As I know, because Valerie's ordered a new car, and we're lucky she's going to get it probably end of this month, beginning of next. And normally it's like 60 to 90 days out, so we're pretty lucky and fortunate that she's going to be able to get one. Any closing thoughts tonight, Ron?
Except that, this was kind of an interesting weekend with the Carfuckle, with the two Mini 3 updates coming out consecutive days, and the maps going missing. I think this does tend to point what Lauren was talking about last week, that basically the leadership at DJI has changed, and maybe not changed for the better.
You're right. Well, earlier before I had you guys on, they announced end of service life for DJI Phantom 2 and DJI Phantom 3, and that's in September. And that's kind of pointing in a direction we're going to see more of this, because look at some other things like the Spark and probably the original Mavic Pro. Original Mavic Pro came out in 2016. Spark came out in 2017. Those you may be seeing things on that. The Phantom 4 Pro, you may be seeing things on that as well too. So it's kind of a forerunner of some things. And as Lauren put in the chat,
real quick, can I shout out our good friend Geeks Fauna in the chat tonight?
Yes, Geeks Fauna is in the chat.
Thanks for dropping in, Sean. I know it's probably the middle of the night over there, and
he's asking
like about the Phantom 5, Sean. But I can't quite show the Phantom 5 yet. You're gonna have to wait for a couple more episodes.
And Sean, I want you to know that I have been bugging Ron to invite you on Drone Nation. So I've been bugging him.
We just don't have in the budget right now, Marcus.
We can't pay
a lot of money to bring a big star like Sean on the show.
Yeah.
Marcus, any thoughts as we wrap things up?
Hey, listen, here's what I'm going to say. I'm having a ton of fun with that Mini 3. whatever firmware, this or that. I think that Mini 3, it's been a solid drone right from the start. Any of these issues have been, I think, relatively minor. I mean, I guess if I was one of those guys that had range issues, I might be a little more upset. However, I haven't seen that, and I'm having a blast with that drone. And
how about overheating? We talked about overheating. How about overheating, Marcus?
I have had none of those issues.
Have you ever seen a heat warning on that drone?
I have never seen a heat warning, and I've been flying in some pretty hot weather. So,
thank you.
In fact, I will even say that I think that this drone has been more solid than even like its predecessor, the Mini 2.
Wow.
As far as issues, and it brings so much to the table. People complain about the price. You look at the value for everything that you're getting with that product, and the video quality, etc. It really kind of blows me away, and I'm having a ton of fun with it. So,
all Mini 2 owners, that you send all the hate mail to Marcus, not Bill and I.
I love my Mini 2. Don't say that, Ron. I love my Mini 2, but I'm just saying that I think this product has been more trouble free than some of the others.
So you would rank the Mini 3 right up there with the best mini drones you've ever flown?
The Mini 3 is the class. It is the best mini drone I have ever owned. Yeah.
Wow.
Well, I gotta echo what Marcus says. I've been having a ton of fun with the Mini 3 Pro as well too. It's just it's a treat. It's a joy to fly. It flies better than I thought it would fly. It does a lot of things that I really like. And I'll tell you what, one of the things I've really come to embrace and enjoy is this vertical shooting mode. I really like the video from it. And Ron and I were talking a little bit about it. It's like, you take a picture of like, say, a wedding party spread out. But if you want to get like the bride and the groom, you do a vertical. And it's the same thing like a building like the Eiffel Tower. You do a vertical just to get that. And just some of the things that it captures is amazing. And I was just very enthralled with it. So I'm going to be doing some, going to be testing some of those quick shots with it too, and doing the vertical mode and see how they look. Cause it just really captures me. I really like it a lot. I think it's a good thing that DJI came out with, did those updates for that vertical video. I really like it.
Good to have options, huh?
It really is. It really is. And I'm really pleased. And, I got to say this, we'll get things ironed out, with all these other things that'll happen, it'll work itself out. And, it's just going to take time. And we, for those of us that are waiting for updates and things, we kind of just, got to hang on and wait because, we don't know what's going on half the time. And,
yeah, I mean, just look at the Mavic 3. I mean, a lot of issues there, whatever, but 6-7 months in, all the updates are done, and nobody even talks about that drone anymore because everything's fixed.
Yeah, well, that's and Ron, I'll pile on there a little bit. The Mavic 3 is the best drone that I've ever owned. Period.
Right.
I do not disagree at all.
And 6-7 months in, no more talk about any software issues.
Yeah, the video quality on that thing and the way it flies. I mean, it's just such a pleasure to fly that thing.
The Hasselblad color science on that,
right,
is the best I've ever seen. It's natural. It's good, but it's also natural. It's not overly, sharp. It's not overly super colorized, whatever. It's just the way you kind of see it with your eyes or whatever. Just muted enough. It's. I hate to use the word perfect, but can I say perfect, Marcus?
Yeah, I agree. Hey, Bill, I just thought of something that I want to get in there, and you guys may have already spoken about it. And if you did, I apologize for repeating, but we definitely want to shout out Sean Oz. He's going in for some surgery. Did you talk about it?
He has a broken I mean, he showed the x-ray and it's like really broken. So Sean, our thoughts and prayers are with you. Pray that your surgery will be successful and you have a quick recovery period and maybe stay off that board for a while.
I mean, we all think it's him as a young guy, but I think he's on the wrong side of 45 now.
Well, coincidentally, I get a call from my brother last night. He tripped in his kitchen, broke his wrist, and it was the most gruesome thing you ever saw. So He spent the evening at the ER. And surgeons, I actually met with a surgeon this morning, and guess what? No surgery for me.
Awesome. That's great news, Marcus.
That's good. That's good news.
It's really a good thing to close the show on. Yeah. Well, guys, as always, it's a great day to fly. Take care, everybody.